Well, we keep saying it. We talk about being unstoppable, but the theme of this afternoon is driving the change. And yesterday, we already had a big event that is literally about driving. Take a look at this. These are the Jesus Bikers. Now, this is a Christian motorcycle group whose motto is pray, ride, and do good. And yesterday, they came out. They've met Pope Francis. They actually just met Pope Leo XIV, that we heard from today. And of course, the next logical step is meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger. So you can see, this is a custom Harley-Davidson LimeWire electric bike. It's nicknamed the Terminator. They presented it to the Governator. And I love it. This is talking about creativity. So I know they're out there. Let's give it up for the Jesus Bikers and that awesome bike. I like to look at that motorcycle, and I think once again, this is the message. Being environmentally responsible can still be cool, and that motorcycle looked cool. All right, are you ready for your next speaker, ladies and gentlemen? Maybe you could use a little more Red Bull, but we'll take it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Deborah Gael.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deborah Gael, and I'm the co-founder of Coolbox. Africa does not need saving. Africa needs cooling. This is Mama Ibadan. She's a fish trader in Lagos, Nigeria. And she's been doing that for the last 20 years. Every day before sunrise, she will go to the market, negotiate with suppliers, serve her customers, and basically work really hard to provide for her family. But every day, this woman, she's faced with one challenge. A challenge that actually does not care if she works hard or not. And that challenge is electricity. Because if you've ever been to Nigeria, and if you know how working in a 35-degree heat environment is, you know that keeping your fish fresh is not luxury. If the grid fails, if she doesn't have electricity, she does not have cooling. If she does not have cooling, her fish spoil. And if her fish spoil, it means that customers leave. And if customers leave, it means that Mama Ibadan, she does not make money. Not because she doesn't have customers, but because she does not have access to cooling. When we think about climate change, we always think about the rising sea levels or extreme weather conditions, or maybe melting glaciers. But for someone like Mama Ibadan, climate change looks completely different. Let me show you a picture. Spoiled fish, lost income. Here in Europe or the US, we all have access to cooling, right? You have a fridge, you have a freezer, and if for whatever reason your fridge does not work for 1 hour, you start calling customer service, right? If your fridge does not work for 4 hours, you may start, challenging your entire life decision. But unfortunately, in so many regions of Africa, cooling is still very unreliable. 5 years ago now, my co-founder and I decided to solve this challenge. And we created Coolbox, the startup that I run. So basically, we use 2 natural forces, sun and water, and we created a very innovative solar-powered cooling solution. Today, we help small businesses, households, be able to preserve their goods, whether or not the grid is working. But then we realized something. Technology alone does not change lives. Access does. Access to energy, access to financing, access to opportunities. Because when you put all those things together, you can now change lives. If you look at this picture now, the faces of different African women, those are the women that we are helping today. Thousands and thousands and thousands of Mama Ibadans that use our solution to grow their businesses. But then I realized something. We are actually not selling solar freezers or solar fridges to those women. We are actually selling to them peace of mind. Because those women, they can finally go to bed, sleep, without having to worry that the next day their fish, their meat is not going to spoil. Now, before I leave you, I have one more picture that I would like to share. All right, this is one of my favorite pictures. This picture was taken in 2021, and it's actually Mama Ibadan Installation Day. You can see her over there with the blue dress. And if you look closely at this picture, you will see 3 different emotions: excitement, hope, and doubt. All right. So excitement is basically the cool box team. We were super excited because we knew that our solution could change her life. Hope, that's Mama Ibadan in blue. She was already picturing her new life. No waste, fresh fish, more customers, and more money. And then you will see doubt. That's a friend with the green dress over there, right? That day, she had so many questions for us. It's not going to work. Why is it so expensive? And how can you cool with the sun? I don't believe it. But guess what? Mama Ibadan was right. She now experiences 0 food waste. She sells fresh fish, and she now runs a very successful business. So when people ask me if I work in climate tech, I usually say no. I work in peace of mind. Because for someone like Mama Ibadan, climate action is not a report. Climate action is not a conference. Climate action is actually being able to go to bed without having to worry about the next day. Again, Africa does not need saving. Africa needs cooling. Thank you.
Well, I just lost my thing. Deborah, first of all, I want to say thank you. I thought the really interesting point that you raised that I think a lot of people take for granted is access.
Yes.
And so as you're here, as you tell us about this incredible company, what access would help you to take Coolbox to the next level?
Oh, I love this question. Access to financing. We've been able to raise funds so far, over $18 million, but we need more if we want to support and impact more lives, more Mama Ibadans. So we are looking for investors right now. We are doing our Series B, so if anybody is willing to support the cause and the impact, please come and talk to me.
And what advice would you have? You've been on this incredible journey, and what lessons have you learned that you could share with some of our next-gen leaders in here?
Yeah, I mean, be strong, that's one, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think someone mentioned it. It's part of the process, so you need to make mistakes to learn.
We can all learn from our mistakes. Deborah, final question. How can people get in touch with you?
Well, social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, email, but I think the easiest is if you are interested, just come and talk to me. I'm the nicest person ever.
Well, we love that you offer such easy access. Deborah
Thank
Gael,
you.
ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you so
one
much.
more time. And now, let's see our next speaker. Doesn't that music make you feel like an action hero? Timo Bollerhey, you're the head of H2 Global, the Hint.co. So we had a chance to speak last night, and what you're doing is fascinating. So give us an idea about what you're trying to accomplish with H2 Global.
Perfect. Yeah, with H2 Global, we try to accomplish towards decarbonization of the industry. Not everything can be, be done by electrification. We need green molecules into the system, and this is where hydrogen comes in, because you can produce hydrogen or e-fuels, for example, by using renewable energy. And then you can really also decarbonize parts of the industry, chemical industry. This morning we heard about, the maritime sector can be decarbonized with using green methanol, for example. Also aviation. A lot of us flew here today, so these flights could be run on green fuels. This is where hydrogen kicks in. The problem with hydrogen, or clean hydrogen, green hydrogen, is just that it's far more expensive than fossil fuels at this point in time, because nobody's really producing it at scale. Because it's so expensive, nobody's asking for it. Because nobody's asking for it, nobody's starting to produce at scale, so the prices come down. So this is classical chicken and egg situation, and that's where we try to come in with H2 Global. The idea is here to introduce a trader. We always call it maybe the most unusual trader in the world, because we're trading with hydrogen. We have an interim trader here that is trading via what we call a double-sided auction. And it's very unusual because the aim of the trader is most likely to make losses and to get out of business. So what we do, we buy and sell hydrogen. We buy with long-term contracts. That provides that investment case that producers need today. And we sell it short-term contracts into the system. And that creates price transparency, liquidity, but unfortunately, we will make losses in the meantime. And this is where governments step in with a subsidy. They are supporting to cover these trading losses of that intermediary. And by now, we arranged to collect around 8 billion euros from various governments. It all started 5 years ago in Germany, the German government being the first one to support it. They said, no state-owned company, come up with an idea that we set this up independent as an independent platform. So 5 years ago, my colleague and co-founder Markus Exmerger, we started a foundation, non-profit, started with 14 companies in Germany. By now, we're 74 companies from all over the world. Bezos is supporting us, other institutions from the Bay Area in the US are supporting us, and it really grew into a global platform here. And we raised around 8 billion in funding from various governments, from Germany, from the Netherlands, from Australia, from Canada, most likely soon also from India. And we hope we really strive to stipulate the emergence of a functioning market here, and then hopefully get out of the market once we're no longer needed.
So that's a fascinating idea. And I know we were talking about that, how now solar is starting to become more cost efficient. But a lot of these renewable sources, at the beginning, they need to be subsidized. So you talked about already raising $8 billion. What would the time frame be in an ideal world where this hydrogen market would then become self-sustaining?
I would assume in 5 to 10 years from now, it should be self-sustaining. If politicians, really take actions. I mean, we heard the commissioner from the European Commission this morning. Take this action. We take you seriously. Don't move around here. Don't shake. We really need to have policymakers taking clear action, whether it's in Brussels, in Berlin, or in Washington. We need predictable framework conditions for the industry. The industry is ready. They just need predictability. They need a clear framework to do this change. So let's not excuse ourselves here. Take this action, leap forward, and especially we had the discussion this morning. Hydrogen is not only a key towards decarbonization, it's also a key element towards creating and gaining resilience, energy resilience, whether you produce it in Europe, whether you import it from Africa. It's huge opportunities for also the emerging markets. Let's use this opportunity and no excuses anymore.
Well, it sounds like an incredible vision, but how do you get drawn to this? How do you say, I'm going to start a trading company with losses and then want to get out of business? What drew you to this approach?
Well, it was a little bit, 5 years ago, my colleague Marcus and me, we had, I think, cozy jobs. We also already had a decent career behind us, maybe a little bit of career ahead of us, but there was no fire anymore. There was no burn. And then the question, actually the idea was born on a Sunday afternoon. We thought, okay, how would you do this thing with the hydrogen economy? There's things missing. So what would be a new approach to put this off without having too many subsidies? We don't believe in subsidies. We believe in markets. We believe in creativity. And then really it was also luck, coincidence, the right idea, right people, right timing. The German government had, funds available for this. They were open, really open and innovative here to take this on, and that's when it all kick-started.
Well, so you mentioned the money. Obviously, money always helps everything, but what else would you need to grow to reach this self-sustainability?
I mean, yeah, we don't want to grow. We actually want to cease to grow. We want to get out of business. So
grow the hydrogen market.
Exactly. What we need is really that politicians, policymakers take action. Don't hesitate here. We see all the discussions at the moment, also with the geopolitical shifts that we have. There is no play industrialization against decarbonization. This is bullshit. I mean, actually, the transformation is the key basis for the industry in Europe, in the Western world, in the US to remain. So take this opportunity, don't bullshit around anymore, and stick to what you already promised. You don't have to invent the wheel new. All is all there. Just stick to what you promised and don't hesitate.
Stick to what you promised. So that would be your big ask. We've had a lot of influential people here. Your big ask would be just stick to what you've already promised.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, now, obviously, you've taken, what I love is everyone has these different paths to get where they are. What advice would you have for these young people that maybe you would have given yourself starting out on this journey?
Maybe not to the young people, because it's so inspiring to see all the youth here and the Gen Z that is driving this change forward, but maybe to the people, I'm not the next generation anymore. I'm already of the present or the past. But don't be hindered in also taking action. Let's not leave it to the youth. It's also my generation that can take change here. I mean, 5 years ago when we started this, Marcus and me, we quitted our jobs, and I can tell you one thing, I was scared to death, and I'm still scared to death from time to time. But it doesn't matter. I mean, the burn is back, the fire is back again, so it's the purpose. There's no guarantee that we will succeed, but there's a guarantee that you can look into the mirror and you can really say, at least I tried to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. So there's no excuse for all of that are maybe already very cozy in their lives and their jobs. Look into your hearts, look where the flame is, unbury this flame, take all this bullshit out and do the action, and then I think all of us, all generations can take action here. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the best example. He had 3 outstanding careers. He had all these, you would really deserve to lean back and say, guys, this is now your time to do things. Now he's doing this here, so let's take this as an example, and no excuses also for my generation just to sit back and do nothing.
That was a hell of a pep talk there, Timo. I love we've heard science, we've heard logic, and I love you touching on something that's so important to all of this, passion. So how can people get in touch with you, Timo?
Well, we're not that much, my generation is not that much on social media, so very traditional, go on h2global.org or hintco.eu, and they can get in contact with us, and we really hope to see the support here, and kick your policymakers in your governments, kick them ass.
Kick their ass. You heard it right there. Timo Bollerhey. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.